everyone. I'm Sharon Abegna, your host for the day, and I'd like to warmly welcome you all to today's webinar by Nordic Semiconductor and Musa Electronics, adding multi-protocol wireless connectivity to your design with Nordic products is our title for today. And we do have Mr. Gaurav Kapoor, Country Manager for Nordic Semiconductor India, who will be speaking with us today. Mr. Kapoor has over 20 years of work experience in the semiconductor industry, focusing on sales in IoT, analog power, and MCU businesses. He joined Nordic Semiconductor in 2019 as Regional Sales Manager, India, and currently focuses on growing Nordic's brand in India through various aspects from sales, FAE operations, to distribution management. He's a graduate from Nagpur University, 1999, in Electronics and Communication Engineering, and a great leader and team player with professional leadership qualities and interest in traveling and outdoor activities. Today's session would be an overview of selected application scenarios, such as smart home and wireless audio, and how they are supported by Nordic's latest products. Small reminder that the first 5 attendees stand a chance to win Amazon e-gift vouchers worth 500 each, INR 500 each, provided they stay for the whole session. For any further questions during the session, feel free to post them in the Q&A module that you all see at the bottom end of your window. Mr. Kapoor, I think over to you today.
Guys, welcome. Thanks, Sharon, for the introduction, and thanks for correcting the dollars to rupees. $500 was an exciting thing and people would have heard, I guess. So making it short, it's going to be around 40-45 minutes of presentation, around 50 plus slides I have, and we were talking through multiple subjects. Let's go on to the agenda slide. So what we'll be covering today is majorly about what Nordic Semiconductor is. Some of you would have watched the video played in the beginning, but those who couldn't, don't worry. We'll have the corporate video running in the end again before we take up the Q&A session. Along with the introduction, we will be running through some of the technical and the advantages, benefits what Nordic Semiconductors as a company provides. We'll share the products we have and then get down to some latest applications, which covers Matter, LE audio, and direction finding, which is ideally BLE 5.1, 5.2, and the upcoming 5.3. So just to make a quick reminder, please post your questions in the Q&A box. I have with me my colleague Chandra, who will be replying to your questions directly. And then we'll try to wrap this slide presentations around 40-45 minutes and then take up some questions in the last 10-15 minutes. If we miss anything, feel free to contact Mauser or Nordic for the questions. So let's hit the road straight away and talking about Nordic as a company. Those who don't know us, we are pretty old in the industry. We are roughly 30 years old. And basically, we were founded in 1983. We have a team strength of around 1,200 people globally. And it's been 3 years for me in Nordic. And I can tell you in last 3 years, we have practically doubled our resource strength worldwide. When I remember when I joined, we were around 600 odd people. And we have been hiring pretty aggressively the way we have been growing. We are a fabless company, and we basically deal in Bluetooth and a lot of multi-protocol solutions, which I'll be touching as we move forward. The fonts might be short, but you can see we are practically present globally all across in different continents. And in India, we have offices in Bangalore and Hyderabad, which is one of our Wi-Fi design centers. Coming to the supply chain solutions, Nordic partners with the global leaders like TSMC and ASE Group and Amcor. Our partnership goes back pretty long. And the best part about this is we are working on a dual source strategy for similar products and wafers. So that's the reason where we are able to support our customers on a capacity assurance model. All the locations are obviously certified by ISO 9001 and 14001. In Philippines and Taiwan, we have our dedicated engineers from Nordic who take work on the third-party key vendors and ensure there's a smooth supply chain supports going on to our esteemed customers. And I think some of you might be knowing we already have local distribution presence also through catalog distributors and regional distributors who stock and support the logistics portions mainly. One of the most important things on the supply side to continue is, and as some of you guys might be excited to see that Nordic does not end of life products just for the convenience when we want. We guarantee 10 years plus longevity, and we keep supplying the products till we see a demand in the market. And to add to this, even our initial products, which we came back, the proprietary devices way back in 1983, we still have been manufacturing and shipping it to a lot of our customers who want that. And since I mentioned in the last slide about the multi-sourcing things, that's something which enables us to manage the portfolio we have and keep supporting the customers for long term. This is a pretty common question which comes in specific segments of design and development. So I'm very sure this will be something which excites some of you as a selective feature to use more Nordic in designs because you get us for long-term support. Moving on to a bit on the history side, this shows basically what Nordic has been playing in the market domain with our technologies over the years. So obviously some of you who are sticking with Nordic for long know that we have been working on the proprietary stuff for years, and we still continue to support. And as the market has emerged, we have gradually changed ourselves in supporting multi-protocol things on ZigBee, LTM, BT 5.1, 5.2, and 5.3, which I will explain more as we move forward. BT 5.1, some of you might be knowing, is something towards the direction finding thing, the long range thing. BT 5.2 is something on the LE audio, which I'll be touching, and 5.3 is upcoming in progress. And if I recall correctly, that is something towards high precision, accuracy, and measurement. We have shipped more than 2 billion ICs over the entire span till now, and they are active running chips in the market as of now. Some of the specific markets where we are having a very unique position and we have been working on long. I think a lot of you will relate to our markets where we have been supporting customers. Obviously, the biggest leads to wearables and some of the remote con applications. We have been doing a lot of activities and supporting customers on the PC phone tablet side, the gaming, the basic tags and trackings. And as the market has emerged over the period of time, we are moving towards new innovative applications of payment gateways, logistics and transports, a lot on the predictive maintenance side. If you see the content mentioned, we are a very startup friendly organization, and I was reading an article a couple of days back about the 25 startups being recognized on pan-India level, regional levels, and I'm pretty happy to see that a lot of these startups which have been recognized have been Nordic customers using us in the IoT domains. We basically differentiate our ICs, which I'll be sharing in a few slides on the baseline SoCs, some of which are the mainstream, and some in the high-end SoCs. I'm touching the SoC slides in a couple of minutes, and then you can relate to that. This slide gives you an idea of where Nordic is placed, and I think many of you might be knowing Nordic is far ahead in the leadership when it comes to the Bluetooth market. We consistently are leading the market with almost 40% market share. It was actually 50% plus till last year when the Bluetooth SIG changed its criteria of acknowledging people by adding the dual mode devices. So now you have dual mode devices also, which are considered in the design in by the SIG. But if you look at Nordic, which is on the top curve, we are leading the market share through our peers by almost 43%, if I remember the last quarter's number. And that's the best part, where I am excited to share that a lot of you guys would like to work with the leaders in the market. Just a reminder, in between, any questions which comes up, I'll be taking at the end of the session. And if you wish, you can type it down in the Q&A, and my colleagues will keep typing and replying you back on that. So don't hold yourself in asking the questions. Feel free to ask anything. There is nothing called a silly question. So we are looking for more active participation from people. Coming down to the platforms and how Nordic supports the customers and how we are in the market. So basically, our commitments have never been stopping at the SoCs or chips when we make. So we normally take care of our customers to the whole journey of the development, where we manufacture the chips, and then eventually it lands up in the final product. So if you, as a customer, you can be rest assured that we take care of you in every step. We provide the protocol stacks, which are regarded as the industrial benchmark, from taking the small wireless data transportation things. We have been maintaining the NRF Connect SDK, which is a single platform for developing applications on all products, and off-the-shelf examples. So if somebody is working, and if you go and see the SDK on our info center, there are tons of extensive examples provided in the SDK, the software development kit, what we say as SDK. And there are enough tools, some of them example like the power profiler kit, to assess the correctness or efficiency of the product, the power consumptions. And of late, we also have started our cloud services as a complete package for our cellular products. And Nordic has been providing the multiple channels of support through our different platforms like DevZone or even the local distribution model. So if you look at the whole supply chain here, starting from chips to high performance stacks to SDKs to different tools and eventually cloud, which helps you make and develop eventually your final product, which comes out in the market. Continuation on the support and community. I'm sure some of you might be knowing it. For those who are not aware, we have a very vibrant platform called DevZone. It is where we have dedicated engineers. I think it's around 30 to 40 guys based out of our Norway and global locations who will reply to the queries you post. There are two sets of queries you can post. One is private and one is public. The public queries are replied by anybody, and the privates are managed by Nordic and Nordic employees itself. So on this DevZone platform, we take any questions that comes up, along with to the level of design validations, design support, and even RF tuning. So based on the request and the type of query we have, it can be hardware, can be software, can be part selection, you can post your query, and our engineers will respond to you on that. We also have the self-service software, the GitHub. I'm sure the enthusiasts will know what GitHub is. A lot of our engineers have their own blogs and solution examples there, which also can be referred and used as per your design. Along with that, being in this region, we have a well network of distribution people, Mauser being one of them, where we are doing the webinar today. And we have few other distribution people who have their own sales and local FAs, who are well trained by Nordic people, and they can help you on your designs from scratch to production level when it comes to hardware or software levels. Anything else which you want us to be addressed, feel free to get in touch with Mauser people or the sales.in Nordic Semi ID here, and we'll take care of the request directly if it comes to us. Just to highlight, I'll be talking more on this eventually, but from the Nordic support platform, you could see the content which mentions, even though we are a chip manufacturing company, but we take care of all the hardware and software in-house under one umbrella to the stack we make and the firmwares we have. So we are the guys with a single point of contact for all your problems related to Nordic designs. Moving on to some of the advantages and the technical competence features when it comes to Nordic, which is by default will be available in any of the SoC or the IC you pick up from Nordic. These are some standard Nordic features available in across our hardware ICs. First and the most important is the stack stability and interoperability. Yes, we are guys who make the hardware chips. We are the guys who make the IC. But for people who don't know, we have a team of more than 80 plus in-house developers and testers who are round the clock working on the different SDKs and the softwares we release. And let me put it very, very clear. We take our software very, very seriously at Nordic. It is just not the chip which works. You need the software on that. And that is a key part of our offering when we move out in the market to support our customers. So this support is not only about developing the new stuff, the developers and testers in-house, and the software team is not only doing the new things, but also even maintaining our existing offering in the support for the existing stacks we have. We have more than 150 stack elements. Last, if I remember, was pretty old, but we have more than 150 stack releases since 2011 till now. And if I recall correctly, the total man hours, total experience of these people is more than 400 years. So these guys are pretty much experts on the Bluetooth software when it comes to development side. There has been a constant push also, means I can tell you and share with you guys on the platform that there has been a constant push on incremental approaches. We keep getting our feedback, from people like you. We keep hearing from you. We keep hearing about issues and new things. And this is something which Nordic as a company is very, very proud internally to have such fellows internally under one umbrella who can extend the support and ensure a smooth development cycle for all of you. Coming to the second most important feature which have, and I'm sure this will surprise a few of you, is Nordic's multi-link feature. So what happens in this is, as you know, we have our own SDKs. So we have our dedicated stable software, the stack, where each node can be configured as a central or a peripheral. You can either design it to work as a central or a peripheral, or even a central peripheral, which is a center node if you see in two different colors. And the best part about it is it can at the same time connect to more than 20 simultaneous links. And as per my information goes, this is the highest in the industry. You can have concurrent roles running where you can connect the 19th node and design it as a further central peripheral, which connects to 19 further nodes. So theoretically, this goes to an infinite number, but I think the typical designers and we all know practically it is not possible. So this is one of the unique features which only Nordic has when it comes to configuration of multi-link unparalleled connectivity. And please note, all these are low power options when it's compared to mesh basically. So this is typically one of the unique features for people who want to get down onto connectivity features and multi-link designs. Coming on the second thing, this is again one of the USPs of Nordic. So we are not only renowned for 2.4G proprietary, but also on protocols of 802.15.4 when it comes to Zigbee and Thread. And multiple connections does not limit us. When I said in the last slide about multiple connections, it does not limit us to configure each node in the same fashion. The best part about it is you can configure any node heterogeneously. You can make it like a 1 Mbps node, you can make it like a 2 Mbps node, you can configure a third node as a long range or a thread or a Zigbee or into a star network. So this is the best part about it because we have dedicated stacks for each of them separately. And it is not something where you have to follow a homogeneous design trend of the same protocol everywhere. This is one of the unique features which Nordic has. Moving on to the next one is the multi-protocol concurrency. This is a feature where we basically follow the time slicing on the radio protocol, and we are able to run two protocols, which can be Bluetooth and Thread or Bluetooth and Zigbee, based on the space of the SoC, the flash we have, and keeping on the low energy connection and the advertising interval feature. We can time slice it to the sleep and sleeping and wake up feature, and configure each design to work in multi-protocols in the same way. So typically what we do is we juggle among multiple connections on the protocols concurrently. And obviously, as I mentioned, the resources like memory and CPU are shared in a time multiplexed manner. While the principle and theory looks pretty easy, but the superiority is basically the way it is implementation. And it is not a hard thing to come by, when it comes to SDK levels and the software levels. And this is where Nordic creates an edge in the market by being a world leader on having stable and flexibility, because of the in-house protocols we have, the stacks which are done rigorously over quality testings, and it basically comes from a lot of feedbacks we get from people like you. And also minded, this is very extremely fast radio ramp up and even the ramp down side, both sides, which facilitates a very seamless switching, when you move from one protocol to a different protocol, different connections, So this is something very unique, and we have a lot of people who use typically Nordic solutions working on two multi-protocol at the same time, yeah. Moving on to the next slide, where just a demonstration of how we typically, if we put everything together, the last three slides, what I mentioned about multi-link, multi-protocol, and if we put together, how does the whole network might look like when you have different protocols like Thread, Zigbee, concurrently running, and then eventually get back into your smartphone and then back to the internet. So enthusiast people and designers can look at more of such applications on our YouTube videos and the websites. And if somebody is keen to get deep into this, can always feel free to contact us so that we can discuss more on this and help them on the design. Moving on to the hardware levels and the products we have. And just to reiterate, before we get down, any questions till now, please feel free to put it on the Q&A. It will be taken after the session is completed. Those who have joined now, just a reminder, we'll play the corporate video if you have missed in the beginning of the session. So you can look at Nordic as a whole company together. Okay, now coming down to the hardware section and what we have as chips. I'm sure many of you know, but those who are new and people to this, we offer our hardware Bluetooth chips as the product nomenclature NRF52. NRF52 is something which supports BLE5, BLE 5.1, and BLE 5.2. So it starts with basic 192 KB flash and eventually goes up till NRF 52840, which is the 1 meg flash. Each SoC is worked up, is available in QFN packages and WLCSP, and their basic discrimination is on different features they have, which can be the flash, the USB, the temperature grade, the dBs of throughput, which ranges from 0, 4, and 8. And depending on the radio connectivity, radio used inside, they can be short range and long range. So if you look at typically the three blocks we have made, the yellow, green, and the blue, you can look at the devices which supports different protocols of AND, BT5, long range, and even angle of arrival, of angle of departure, the direction finding. And I'll speak on that later on. In short, it's a very short and sweet product family, typically just 6-7 ICs, which are not application specific, but can be designed to any specific application based on the stack and the protocol we have. So a same IC here, let's say an RF52832, which is one of our highest selling devices, can be used and designed to make a simple tag, or can be even used to make a particular tracking device or a different application. A same device can go into a direction finding application. A same device can go into an LE audio application, and the same device can be used in other notifiable applications. And that's the beautification of all the hardware chips, which are not application specific. One thing to highlight here, the new generation chips, if you look at typically the blue box, the inner one, which is NRF 52811, 820, and 833, are typically devices which are 105 degrees temp grade. And moving forward, you will see Nordic coming out with chips associates which support 105 degrees temp grade only. The old generation, some of them are -40 to 85. So the best part is now we have a portfolio where we support devices working from -40 to 85 and even -40 to 105 to increase our range of use cases in the market. This slide gives you a feeling of how we can help you guys scale up or scale down the design. So it's basically a matrix where you can see if you are doing a design and you want to eventually move up on the scale with might be adding new features or new applications, and you get short on the memory side, then you can just scale up a particular design. Some of the devices are pin-to-pin compatible, means you just need to manage the radio antenna portion. And there are devices where you might need a bit of components changing on the peripheral side. But practically, in short, in experience, what we have seen, it is very easy to migrate your design up or down a particular scale to either enhance the features or even save cost if you want to get it down. And that's the best part of the way we have designed our chips in the QFN and WCSB packages with different GPIOs. So ranging from minimum 10 to 16 GPIOs to even 50 plus is something what we have. And based on your design, like what we normally say people is to start design developments on our standard development kits. And once you are done with your memory usage and you are able to see how much memory is used, left, whatever, you can either scale up your design when you do your own customized form factor, or you can scale it down the way you want it. And this is pretty easy. We have software SDKs and compatible firmwares, which can help you migrate from a particular generation to the next generation of chip. That's not a problem at all. Okay. I have been speaking on soft devices as stack. So this is just a representation of the soft devices. Basically, what we say is our software, which is ported on each IC. These are some of the names. They keep coming in different versions. As I mentioned in the beginning of the slide about the team of software guys, the testers we have, the compatible team we have, who keep working on different stacks, different soft devices, coming out with new generations, with new features. And this is something which basically becomes the base of your application when you design the IC. The details are very much on the website, but just a snapshot of some of the soft devices we have and which devices it supports, typically how much flash it takes. If you look at the second last row, it gives you an idea of how much space it takes on the flash we have, how much on the RAM side, and how they can be configured and which one should be used to use if you are designing a central node or a peripheral node, and eventually how can many concurrent links you can connect. So just for example, if you look at this particular feature of S122, so it can be used in ICs, the SoCs, namely these ones, and it can connect to maximum of 8 concurrent loads and takes a space size of 112 flash. So obviously you need ICs which are more than 190 KB flash so that you can use this particular soft device. The size of the RAM also is mentioned. This is the constant continuous upgradation process. So we always recommend people when they are getting down to the design To spend time on the website of info center we have, or contact a Nordic employee or a distributor and select down the right soft device required while designing. Let me move on to the next slide. The next chip we have is a new launch we did almost a year back. It is called the front end module. This is with the nomenclature NRF21540. So this is basically a device which helps you work as a range extender, enhancing your range of a design as it generates a max output power of 22 dBm. Though you can tune it to less than 1 dB, and with multiple programmable nodes on the DX side, you can play on the antenna side and have ranges which can range up to 16x practically. We have some customers who have used them in their applications regionally, and we can practically see a lot of guys utilizing this on the front end to get hundreds of meters of range on a particular application and a product. And the best part is this operates from -40 to 105. So if you have an existing solution or an existing design which needs to be enhanced on the range, and you don't want to redo your old hardware, this is the chip which comes in feature, and it's in full production for you to take it further. Coming down to the next PMIC. So many people who are using Nordic will know that Nordic already had PMIC in their chips, in our cellular devices. Last year, we just took out that block and started developing a family of NPM 1100, which is the first buck converter with the cell charger of 400 milliamps. Recently, we launched a 6 output device. And the best part is these are all very, very small WLCSP devices, not taking more than 23 square PCB sizes, and all are battery operated. And it's very simple in the architecture. If you look at the first generation of family, which is 400 milliamps, and we plan to take the whole family long to higher amperes of output. Those who have requirements of multi-output devices, please refer. I've not put a slide here. We just did a launch like a couple of weeks back. It's a 6 output devices with 4 bucks and 2 LDOs built inside. Very interesting, low power consumption. Next product line which we have, and that will be the last product line, but very interesting, is the Cellular IoT, which is our device which supports NB-IoT and LTM. I'll talk on the block in the next slide, but just to give you a feeling of what this is. So this is again where Nordic is working on its own strength of low power consumption and in-house support of hardware and software. So this chip basically took almost 4 years for us to develop from scratch. And we have almost 6 blocks of architecture inside, which is inclusive of the MCU, the modem, the GPS, the PMIC, the passive crystals. Everything is on the same block, on the same die. It's not a co-packed device. And that is where, being on the same substrate, we are able to command the lowest power of consumption when it comes to PSM and ADRX mode. I have the numbers in the next slide. And to highlight on this, since it has been developed in-house by Nordic, by our engineers, the whole support system of the design, be it hardware, be it software, or the SDK or tools, comes from Nordic under the same umbrella. You don't need to run to different people if it comes to MCU help or modem help or GPS help. A simple architecture to mention and show here. So this has 3 major blocks, which I mentioned in the last slide. The MCU, 133 Cortex, 1 meg flash. It has the modem, which has its own flash and RAM, and the GPS. And along with these 3 major blocks, it includes the PMIC, the FEM, passive crystals, and the other things which consume very low power on ADRX and PSM. One most important thing which is very relevant for this is the size of this chip. We basically call this a silicon system in package or silicon in package. We don't call it a module. It's just because of everything being on the same die I mentioned. This is one of the smallest chip in the industry, 16 by 10 mm. And as far as my knowledge goes, this is the smallest possible chip in the industry with the lowest power consumption in the industry. And this is where it supports the NB-IoT and LTM feature and does not fall back to the old generations of 2G and 3G. And the best part again is for people who are designing products using cellular for global markets, it's a pre-certified chip with PTCRP and 3GPP and supports all the different global cellular operators and all the typical bands from B1 to B60 almost. Just a feeling of how the block looks like. And if you're looking for designing a basic simple track or a tracker, you just typically need an external battery, might be a SIM and different sensors. On the SIM side, this supports hard SIM now, but the roadmap eventually supports soft SIM also moving forward as per the generation. So a block diagram of how the cellular solutions of Nordic CIoT looks like compared to others. So if you look at some of the generic solutions is where you have an external MCU, but Nordic is basically inside. So it's basically a whole solution developed by Nordic with high level of integration. And you have a constant upgradation of all the firmwares and library coming. And to highlight again, being in control of the hardware and the software, there is a guarantee of support for the MCU, the modem, the GPS, and even the power and the RF which is inside, which Nordic and Nordic employees and the team takes care of supporting when you are involved in the design with this particular chip. So obviously, just a highlight of how the cost will be affected. If you're using multiple SoCs on a board, your size goes up, you have different MCUs or security elements or PMICs, and eventually, your cost goes up. If you look at the Nordic on the right-hand side, it's everything intact together. Just need to work out on one chip and you are done with your design. Basically, your components are less, your form factor is less, you have a single window to take help from us, and it's basically sort of one support channel. And since we manage the full design part from scratch to production, the hardware software supports come from us, so it is maintained by us, and not only to run to different people or different vendors when you have multiple devices on the board. A summary of the same thing what I mentioned in the flow chart, so I don't go through in detail, but you can just have a look that from the chip side to the stacks to different tools we have, and eventually the cloud, and then the different co-partners we have is where we can extend help to you to eventually run through the whole flow chart and come out with a product on a cellular device. So it's just not that we provide a modem or a MCU with GPS. I go back to my first slide, which says 6 different architecture blocks inside, which can be used and exploited to do your design on cellular devices. But I could see some hands being raised. I hope they are being answered. Please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box as we move forward. A representation of where, so we have dedicated team which works with different cellular operators to get our SIP verified. And you can look at the color combinations where we already are working in those particular bands available in the country of NB-IoT and LTM. People in India will know we have NB-IoT in certain sectors, certain pockets, and getting rolled out pretty soon, I guess, as per the new 5G trials have started. So we are supporting the NB-IoT in India through our SIP, through cellular operators, which are namely Reliance, Jio, Airtel, and Vodafone. And there is a constant work where we keep getting the cellular and our operators approvals in different zones. So even the people who design globally, you can always contact us on a particular approval or a particular validation of a particular operator in a region, and we can support you and help you on all those approvals and designs. Coming down to the next technology, which is pretty interesting and I wanted to share with you, is called Matter. I hope some of you know it by the name of Project Chip when it started off. So to make it simple, what is Matter? Matter is something in a layman language where different platforms can communicate through a standard protocol. Making it simple, I hope everybody is familiarized with what Alexa is and what Siri is. So today, Alexa and Siri cannot talk, right? Very sad. The best part is Matter is being developed as a standard platform where these two ladies can eventually talk. And it is expected and it is supposed to be one of a revolutionary development, typically in a smart home cases, where you have different platforms communicating together through a standard protocol on an open source connectivity model. So basically, it will facilitate the commissioning, the communication across different ecosystems. And Nordic being a part of the working group and the definition since last 2 years, we have a lot of designs and certification protocols going on this. I'll touch on this in the next slide, but to make it interesting for designer enthusiasts, you will see the left side. Matter is nothing but just a protocol stack on the top over which you write your application and be ready to work on different systems of thread, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, and communicate to that. So the Nordic NCS, which is the NRF Connect SDK, it basically offers the full solution of hardware to software, which includes some references of basic light bulbs and switches and door locks. So you can always refer that on our website or contact us if you want any help on that. I mentioned about certifications. Obviously, since we support you on the Matter protocol, we also will help you if you're designing your products, which eventually will go for Matter certification, which can be a Bluetooth certification or a thread or a Matter. So we are the guys who can help you in that. And I think people who understand will also connect to this about the features which are really going to be revolutionary is about the simplicity. Different users can communicate over standard platforms. Things can be interoperable and not to forget, obviously reliable, and then having highly secure connectivity in this. If you look at the different accessories to Matter network, basically interoperability is something which is very, very relevant when it comes to communication between different platforms. So if you look at TCP/IP, Wi-Fi, thread, they are basically reliable infrastructures which support this particular platform. Moving on to the next interesting technology on the Bluetooth SIG development, which is named as BT 5.2, is the LE audio. So I'm very sure everybody in this room has till now connected or listened to audio. So what you guys use the Bluetooth for audio today is classic audio, which is typically point-to-point communication, and typically the most common things are the headphones or the stuff basically in here. So BT SIG came with a next generation audio called LE audio, named as BT 5.2, and new features have been added up, which are typically Auracast isochronous channels, multi-streaming, low latency, and I'll be touching on these points one by one so that you can understand what's the changes which are eventually going to happen as we move forward on LE audio. So most importantly, Auracast is something where you can use the audio for different purposes of transmitting and receiving, basically. So if you see the limitation of classic is it can't be used for multi-output features, basically. So transmitters is in most cases the source, if you can understand, and it is either broadcasting or multicasting to controlled group of features. The receivers are typically the consumers of the audio data when it's sent from the transmitter side. And it's mostly, you can relate it to like headphones or headsets, which are receivers basically. And the assistant, the third one, is basically the central thing to the Auracast, which is an interface to audio sources and allowing the users to choose the audio stream, what they want to play back eventually. To use the Auracast logos and typically use the trademarks mentioned by Bluetooth SIG, you need to qualify your product for all the three eventually, and then you will be able to use them. And Nordic, being an Auracast enabler, can help you develop this on the hardware and software side to implement any of the three roles, and then can use the SIG logo if you have a product which is audio defined in the LE case. Isochronous channel, one of the features I mentioned. So it's basically just a channel that is used on time-bound feature to compress the audio and to basically prioritize the rate of data and make it more accurate. The key of this feature is to avoid packet errors. And if suppose system gets stuck on a single packet, it would come to the user's attention obviously pretty quick if there is something lost. So this particular thing enables a TWS earbuds or an audio sharing mode where the audio stream can start to back up and visual synchronize, so that the drifts don't happen, typically. A downside of this is typically the missed packets in the wireless communication typically might lead to a bit of pops and cracks, but the signal smoothing algorithms, on the speaker side will enable that the packets are not missed, and a single type transmission type of exchange configurable by many retransmissions occur, and once the number of retransmissions are reached, the particular packet is disregarded and the next packet is taken in actually. So this basically, in short, allows LE audio bundling of multiple channels into a group with synchronization over other group channels, and then many new use cases of multi-streams from one to many can be eventually designed using this feature. The multi-stream audio, typically with classic audio, people who have used the audio in their designs will see that the truly wireless stereos, this was difficult to implement. So typically Nordic, with this LE audio feature, you can sort of split the signal into two mono streams and have a TWS experience. So one of those is sent to the other buds. If you look at the flow chart, it goes to the left and then to the right in a typical classic case. In a multi-streaming, it is sent to both at the same time. And that's where, both the earbuds perform the same task and consume similar power, basically. So you're not limited to a single stream, basically. This slide might give you an idea of how different applications can be done through LE audio, right? If you look at TWS experience, if you're looking at different speakers, multiple outputs, 5.1, if you are on a gaming side, and if you are doing a multi-head recording system. Now, some of you who are an enthusiast or designer in the gaming side will have questions on the latency, and this is where the LE audio feature comes to be. So if you look at the point-to-point connectivity, the whole latency of the system comes to around 32 microseconds. And this might be something people not be able to understand. But if I give you a benchmark on how today classic latency works, is something you'll understand. So today, people who are using audio on classic platforms, that's the only available solution we have, is typically on 100 microsecond latency. So you can look at the enhancement of 30% coming in when the designs move to LE audio from a transmitter to a receiver side, basically. And this is the best part about it. And eventually being able to spend less time on air, the battery life and the longevity of a headphone eventually goes up and it consumes very less power. 5340, one of the chips I mentioned is the chip or the SoC which has audio PLL and is a dedicated chip which supports audio as of now. More details are on our website or can be discussed with us offline. But if you're looking to design something on LE audio, this is the chip which you should be selecting to move forward. And as I mentioned, we have the full ecosystem ready. The same chip is available in WLCSP and QFN, and we have a dedicated audio development kits where you can play around and develop your LE audio solutions. The last and the most important technological development coming in is direction finding. We hear and we see and we discuss a lot of with people. And this is basically where we talk about the angle of arrival and the angle of departure. So I'll be talking a bit about this, some of the myths in the market and the solutions we have. So people who can relate to this will understand the angle of arrival or angle of departure is basically something where you need to find a particular asset being tracked, how it works as a transmitter or a locator. It can be working as a scanner to look at different antenna arrays and how you can zero down to a particular object in movement. Both the technologies and both the solutions are what Nordic supports. The hardwares which are typically used are our devices which supports the long range feature, namely NRF 52811, 52820, 52833, and 5340. So these can be configured as either locators or tags, or basically devices which can help you design the AOA or the AOD. Some of the myths, since we have been interacting in this market, I thought of clarifying it. Some of the guys have a different opinion of what direction finding is. So the most important, which we always communicate to our customers is the direction finding is not distance finding. It is basically something where you cannot find the distance of how far the thing is. It is basically to find where it is actually. When you work on a triangulation method with multiple antennas and algorithms, you can actually track it down and find out where the particular object is. But you cannot find the distance through this technology. To find the distance, I think some of you know we have RSSI, time of flights, which can be used to find the distance. But that's the most important concept when you design something on direction finding. When it comes to, obviously, the position is something I mentioned in the last minute, is about triangulation. So depending on if you want to get into a real-time location system, they need to have different locators in different antenna arrays being placed, and you receive a sort of a CT or a constant tone extension from the tags, which will eventually, based on an algorithm, help you to locate the particular asset, like mentioned in the picture here. So you have 3 different locators, which are constantly giving you the LSB and the MSB, with the significant bytes and the least significant bytes. And based on that, with the antenna configuration and triangulation, you can narrow down to find where the tag is particularly located. Yes, it looks very simple, but it is not. It is easier when you have a single antenna and a single tag to do, right? But eventually it gets very, very complex when you have multiple antenna arrays and you had to zero it down to a particular location to track. But the best part is we have examples and we have a lot of software material where you can design your own antenna arrays and design your own solutions to support this particular feature. And this is something which I always show up in presentations is, typically how when we think of finding a particular asset or a track, tag, how it looks like. It's not always the smooth surface, it is a pretty bumpy ride, so some of the misconceptions people have is that we can find out the things in centimeters, how close it is. We are still not there, but I can tell you the work is in progress from BT6. So the next generations of direction finding, you might see high accuracy solutions coming out. So what typically people want is pretty accurate, doing it real time, but it is not. It eventually boils down to how you are working on your antenna arrays, how are they placed, how are the locators, what your algorithm speaks, and the most important is what environment, what situation, where is your solution going to be. So when I talk about the operating environment, it is affected by a lot of things which I mentioned about multiple antennas, how do you want to keep it, how is the polarization, and eventually the environment, which can be interfering environment or a very clean environment. I think people who are on the design side and engineers will understand the concept of the operating environment where you have absorbers, reflectors, and I think we all know reflectors which work on reflection and refraction methods, where you have stuffs like metallic objects which typically reflect the signals, and human bodies or water bodies are typically with absorbers. So these things affect a lot of your design on the real scenario. And that is where we always suggest our people whenever we are doing a basic Bluetooth design or as complex as direction finding is, to always test the solutions in a real environment and then get down to the issues or stuff which can be more practical oriented. So in a real world, I think we all know people who have designed the walls, depending on the quality, always interfere with signals, the jitter frequencies, the propagation delays, are something which affects your design, and not to forget, when you have an array of antennas on this board for application, each antenna switching time is very, very relevant and very important. And that is where people like us, our experts on the design side, come in handy to help you design these complex products at ease and put it in the market and design. And I think I am almost done with this. Next is the corporate video. I will like you to have a look into this. It's 5 minutes video. You will have a more better idea of what Nordic is, and then we will take up the questions one by one. So here is the video which starts. Please have a look.
At Nordic Semiconductor, we empower wireless innovation. As a leader within wireless, our technology enables millions of IoT devices to connect. Using Nordic's innovation, our customers and partners are building a wireless, connected future. Throughout history, technology has driven human innovation. Important technological leaps have transformed our lives. The next giant leap is happening now. We live in the age of wireless connectivity. Across the globe, wireless connectivity is changing lives and societies for the better. By powering smarter, safer and more sustainable solutions. Wireless will unlock future innovations beyond what we can imagine today. A journey that started out with wireless game controllers, keyboards and mice has developed into what we today call the Internet of Things, with billions of connected devices and applications. Thanks to the IoT, we have new ways of living smarter lives, managing critical infrastructure, and tracking and monitoring health. But for all these millions of connected IoT devices to work, they need one important building block: a semiconductor chip, to give them the ability to connect and communicate. At Nordic Semiconductor, we are proud to be a world-leading specialist in ultra-low power wireless connectivity. As a leading global IoT enabler, Nordic's world-class hardware, software and development tools are amongst the most advanced in the world, ready to bring ultra-low power wireless connectivity to almost any product. We are a fabless semiconductor company. We partner with world-class manufacturing and distribution partners. We are the leader in Bluetooth Low Energy, an emerging leader in cellular and Wi-Fi wireless technologies, and are growing our investment in power management, cloud services, and new technologies. Nordic is a global organization, bringing together best-in-class expertise from across the globe. Our R&D and test labs are spread across 3 continents. Combined with our sales teams, support, production and distribution partners, our products and services are available in every corner of the world. Our structure allows a short time to market for new solutions. At Nordic, we take pride in creating advanced, ultra-low power products that are easy to implement. Our unified culture and agile structure empower the great minds of our organization, enabling us to act quickly on new ideas. We take pride in delivering a complete developer experience by offering the best possible product support. Our people are our greatest asset.
Coming to work feels really good.
And the people here are keen to help each other.
I would say that our work culture is very open.
And we have a very flat structure inside of Nordic.
You have a lot of flexibility.
I get a lot of freedom to do what I want to do.
You can do tasks beyond your job description.
Diverse culture leads often to diverse solutions.
At Nordic, we have a history of moving early. So, what's next for us? Previously, we invested early in developing short-range ultra-low power connectivity. Today, we are the global market leader in Bluetooth Low Energy. Now, new opportunities are emerging. Increasingly, IoT services need longer range. As a result, we are applying our ultra-low power expertise towards cellular IoT, Wi-Fi, power management, cloud services, and new disruptive technologies. At Nordic Semiconductor, our mission is to be a world-leading supplier of ultra-low power connectivity. Our products empower tomorrow's innovations. And we are proud to be a driving force in the age of wireless connectivity.
And I'm sure those who listen carefully would have heard about the word Wi-Fi being used, and that is something we have come up a couple of months back. And the official launch is scheduled in couple of months down the road. So that's why I didn't touch upon that. But if you have your designs coming on Wi-Fi, feel free to get touch in next month. We will be supporting that. I'll suggest for people on the design side to get in touch with us or the Mauser team or my distribution team offline. Especially this question on Jigisha, please contact us on DevZone or send an email on the sales ID. We will help you on the design to enhance your range. Some compliments on good session.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kapoor. That was really a great session. Truly exciting to see so many products by Nordic in today's IoT world, if we may call it. And to all our attendees for the day, we do hope this webinar has been beneficial to you as well. We would appreciate your response to the email that would be sent out, that you would be receiving shortly, along with the recording of the session and also a survey. Thank you once again, each and every one of you, for being a lovely audience. On behalf of EFY Group, we'd like to thank you all for this webinar. It was a pleasure being your host for the day, and I hope you all have a lovely day. Thank you once again.